Burning body fat can be very simple once you understand calories and how it all works within the body. Now, before we can talk about the calories and as far as like how to utilize them to be burning body fat effectively, let's first recap and talk about metabolism. So metabolism is once again the process of consuming those calories and utilizing it for energy. If you have a slow metabolism, you're going to be consuming those calories and storing that set energy as fat as opposed to utilizing it. So you want to make sure that you're doing your things like resistance training, eating plenty of protein, right? Increasing your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, to really help speed up your metabolism. And your metabolism is, basically compressed of your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure, right? And that's your BMR, also known as your RMR, which is your basal metabolic rates or your resting metabolic rates. And those are things like, your brain, digestion, your organs, muscles, fat. All that has a big factor into how you're utilizing your energy, right? You're burning through calories throughout the course of the day. And then next up, you have your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So simple things like fidgeting, nodding, going for a walk, simple things like that where you're just not so sedentary. You're kind of active, but not considered working out, so to speak. And then next up, it's your TEF, thermic effective food. So, your proteins, your carbs, your fats, just focus on eating more protein. And then lastly is actually your training, right? The EAT, right? Your exercise activity thermogenesis. So, resistance training, cardio, different things like that. And so now that you understand, recapping metabolism, let's go into how to utilize calories and make it so easy for you to understand how it works within the body. Now, if you want to lose weight, then trust me, this is different. We're going to be talking about how to burn body fat because there is a big difference, right? And I want you to understand that losing weight could be losing muscle, could be losing, let's say, water, could be also losing some body fat. We focus at Heartletics primarily helping our members lose body fat. So weight loss, once again, it could be losing muscle. So if you're not eating next to anything, let's say very, very low calories or crash dieting, remember with your metabolism, that could actually slow things down and you could be losing your muscle, which is not good at all. But yet you're going to see the number on the scale go down. And then it could be simple things like cutting out your carbohydrates, right? Carbs store water within the body in form of glycogen, right? Which is you need it in your muscles, right? You need it throughout the course of your body. It's a great tool for energy. But at the same time, like if you want to see the numbers quickly, see the number on the scale go down, hey, cut out your carbs and you'll see that number drop. But remember, you could be losing just water weights, not body fat. So let's talk about how to actually lose body fat. And you got to be what's called a calorie deficit, okay? The best way to describe this for you is think about a cup, right? A glass. And basically at the end of the day, this glass is considered your body. And when you're pouring liquids into it, let's just say water, this is the effect of calories, energy coming into the body. And so right now there is no liquids inside of this glass. It is empty, right? So your body is basically running around on fumes, which isn't good at all. Because now it's going to be looking into other things to have energy and utilize energy. Maybe that's, muscle. So it's going to be slowing down your metabolism. Once again, your body needs food. I can't stress that enough. Just like you have to put gas into a vehicle to get it from point A to point B, your body's no different. Your body needs energy. Your body needs food, right? So as you're pouring the water into the cup, I want you to really just think about it like this, that this glass right here, right in the middle, okay? This is what's called your maintenance line. And there's always going to be a plus or minus of, just depending on that person with their body fat percentage, their lean muscle tissue, a plus or minus of anywhere from, let's just say 100 to, 500 calories of wiggle room. Nobody can be exact. Just trust me on that one, okay? So your maintenance line, this is basically where your body is not putting on weight or losing weight. It's not putting on fat or losing fat. It's roughly around the maintenance here. And we're going to be talking about that here in a little bit on how to figure out your maintenance calories for fat loss, which is going to be great. So make sure you stay around for that. But as you're pouring in the liquids, if let's say these liquids that you're pouring into, right, the water into the cup, it's below your maintenance line, you're going to be what's called a deficit. And that's prime for burning body fat. Now, the problem that most individuals make is that they hear that and they're like, okay, cool, I got to eat less, right? Calories in versus calories out. There's some truth to that for sure, right? The laws of thermodynamics. But at the same time, remember, if you're not eating enough, you will be slowing down your metabolism, which is not good at all. So we got to understand the sweet spot here of staying within a calorie deficit, and understand this, that anytime you're in a calorie deficit, you will be slowing down your metabolism, right? It's just normal. That's how it works within the body. Now, there are ways to really make sure that you are doing things effectively to make sure that, you're not slowing it down fast. There's also ways of effectively to make sure that you're rebounding and speeding it right back up, doing what's called diet breaks or refeeds, different things like this, or even just like, going through the process of reverse dieting. So there's so many different tools, tactics, strategies, techniques to help you out with this, but that's for another episode. Let's get back to the calories. So if you're underneath this line right in the middle, you're within called a deficit. You're burning body fat. You're losing weight, which is prime. That's what we want. If you're above the maintenance line, you're what's called a surplus. Now, hear me out. A surplus could be a great thing, especially if you're trying to get bigger, put on mass, put on muscle. It's not necessarily a bad thing at all. Remember, it still fills within the cup. Now, where does it get to be a problem? Well, that's when you continue to dump in more liquids into the glass and it eventually spills over. That spillover effect of all the abundance of calories coming in, that spillover effect, that's how somebody stores body fat. And that's not what we want. So if you're eating way too little calories and there's no liquids within the cup, guess what? You're going to be storing body fat because you're going to be slowing down your metabolism. You're going to be losing your muscle. It's not what you want at all. And at the same time, if you're overeating, well, guess what? You're going to be storing more body fat because you have an abundance of calories. So you really want to understand just the name of the game when it comes to calories. And don't worry, I'm going to make things very simple for you at the end and explain how to figure out your calories for maintenance, for cutting, for bulking, whatever the case may be. So that way you're not storing body fat anymore. Now, once again, I can't stress this enough, all right? And I'm going to continue to say this. When it comes down to calories, don't make it complicated, okay? It's the food that you're consuming, okay? Your proteins, your carbs, your fats. At Heartletics, what we like to focus on is the 80-20 rule. We don't believe in diets at all. We believe in giving somebody proper education, the knowledge, knowing that, hey, at the end of the day, as long as we're training them properly and teaching them and coaching them, how this all works within the body, they're going to make the greater decisions to say, okay, hey, I know for a fact, 80 to 90% of the day, I should be eating healthy, wholesome foods, plenty of protein, but at the same time, right, 10 to 20% of the time, it's okay to have some alcohol. It's okay to have some cake. It's okay to have some donuts. It's called flexible dieting here. It's called sustainability, most importantly. How many times have you tried doing a crash diet where you had to cut something out and you can do it for a few short weeks, maybe even a few short months, but then eventually something happens. Maybe that stress that comes into play in your life and you eventually, cave in, you fall off the wagon, and then you regain all the weight right back. And it's this yo-yo effect year after year of lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. Well, guess what? It doesn't have to be that hard at all. When you understand how your metabolism works, you understand how calories work, macronutrients works, everything like this, it can be very simple and easy to digest because that's what we like to do things at Heartletics, is make it very easy, sustainable, and it's all about creating these habits where it's setting you up for success, not just for right now, but most importantly for the future, where you can learn how to burn body fat and keep it off for good. So let's talk about when to adjust calories, because I think that's something that a lot of people also wonder and stress about, where it's like, hey, I'm here in a calorie deficit, I've been here for a few short weeks, and I'm not seeing any, movement go down on the scale. I might be in a plateau, they say, right? Understanding what a plateau is not just seeing the number on the scale go down. And I think that's where a lot of people stress and mess up about. A plateau is when you're not seeing results for anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks. But what is results? Well, at the end of the day, it's not just the number on the scale. It's your progress photos. It's energy levels. It's body fats. It's measurements. Those are results. And at the end of the day, those results matter a lot more than just seeing the number on the scale go down. Somebody could be, let's say, 250 pounds and 40% body fat. So they have the man boobs, the beer belly, right? Maybe high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And yet somebody could be 250 pounds, the same exact weight, and be 15% body fat. No high blood pressure, no high cholesterol, chiseled, chest, six-pack abs. So that's why we really like to educate our members that, hey, fat loss matters the most, not just seeing the number on the scale go down. But let's just say, hey, you're not seeing any changes at all, right? And it's been 3, maybe 5 weeks, no changes in your measurements, no changes in body fat, no changes in, your progress photos, energy levels, anything like that. Then yeah, you might be what's then called a metabolic stall, right? It's metabolic adaptation, and it's very normal, and this occurs because remember, anytime you're in a deficit, your body will be slowing down its metabolism. Now, here's some ways to optimize that to make sure that you can just get out of that plateau. And this is a big key thing here. Always understand this. The last thing that you should do is go lower in your calories. Hear me again. The last thing that you should do is go lower in your calories. Why? Because at the end of the day, you're just going to slow down your metabolism even more and more and more and more and more to where eventually, you remember that cup? Hey, what happens when you're not getting enough proper food in? And there's no fuel, right? No gas in the tank. Well, eventually, you're not going to be hitting your protein goal. You're going to be slowing down your metabolism. You're going to be losing your muscle that you've been working so hard to build, and it's not going to be good. And that's why things like, diet breaks, refeeds, reverse dieting, these are really good strategies to help you with that. But before you go into lowering down your calories, okay, focus on doing this first. What can you add in? Okay, maybe that's, improving your neat, which I'm a huge fan of. Just moving around more. Maybe it's push-ups, maybe it's sit-ups, maybe it's just, going for more steps right throughout the course of the day, whatever the case may be. If you can add something in, maybe even another workout day, or, hey, this is another big thing, add in more sleep. A lot of guys struggle with sleep. They did a study. Guys that slept on average 8 hours compared to 5 hours had up to 20% more natural free testosterone. So maybe adding something in that's going to help improve on those results, so it's going to get you out of the plateau. Maybe that might move the needle for you. Now, the second thing that you can do is change up your macronutrients. So you're not doing anything different with activity. You're not doing anything different with calories. All you're doing is changing up your macronutrients. Maybe you're increasing your protein, and who knows, that might be able to have a huge factor because remember, eating more protein will help boost your metabolism, and at the end of the day, it's higher up on the thermic effect of food. So it's also going to consume, more energy just to break down and digest that protein from all the amino acids that's inside of the molecule itself. So that, let's say you did that, right? You increase some activity, you changed up your macros, you're eating more protein, and you're still not seeing any changes at all, right? In progress photos, measurements, body fat, scale weight, anything like that, energy levels. I would say, okay, now you can cut down on some calories, but hear me out. You want to do it slow. You want to do it effectively. Don't just immediately cut out 500 calories because it's going to be way too much, especially if you're already in a deficit. Anywhere from 100 to 200 calories can really help you out and really move that needle. It's these small little tweaks, small little adjustments that, one, makes things sustainable, right? Because you're not crash dieting, and two, can really move the needle forward. Because think about it, right? If you just take away 100 calories and then let's say that helps you out for the next 2 months, and then in 2 months from now, right, you hit another plateau, well, you can take away another 100 calories. As opposed to if the first time you hit this stall, you take away 500 calories, that's going to be way too much. Because the next time you hit that stall, when your metabolism slows down and you hit that plateau again, you're not going to have any more calories to take away from. So just some things to keep in mind. And always remember, right, calories are not created equal, right? I'm not a big fan of calories in versus calories out. I'm more of a fan of energy in versus energy out, right? So for example, let's consume our energy, let's consume our calories, right? And get in a good amount of protein, and let's utilize that to build your lean muscle tissue, have more energy, speed up your metabolism so you can burn more body fats. Now, you're probably wondering, Joe, this sounds awesome, but how do I figure out my calories, And I'll say it like this. There is no magic formula. Obviously, anybody can go online, Google search, right? Calorie calculator, but at the end of the day, that has nothing in consideration of your lifestyle, meaning like your occupation, stress levels, sleep, everything like that. And then also, if let's say you've been under eating, having 1,200, 1,500 calories, 1,000 calories for the past several months, that calorie calculator has no idea of any of that. Right? Having a coach might be able to help you out, because then it's like, okay, hey, you have a slow metabolism. Let's start a reverse diet before we can get to, the main bulk of burning that body fat effectively. We first got to take a few steps back and speed up your metabolism to get it to where it's efficient enough to then be in a deficit. But that's neither here or there. Hear me out. If you have a effective metabolism, somewhat effective metabolism, use this calculation, okay, to figure out let's just say your maintenance calories, okay? Take your body weight and multiply it by, 14 to 16. That's it, right? There's always going to be some wiggle room. So this is a great calculation because, one, it's really kind of showing you on that scale of, okay, where do I have this wiggle room at where I can eat X amount of calories and not store body fat or put on weight, or vice versa, not lose body fats. So these are your maintenance, right? The middle line of the cup, so to speak, okay? Now, if you want to increase your weight, let's say put on some muscle without putting on body fat, and you want to go into, let's say, a bulk or, gaining more mass, well, hey, take your body weight and multiply it by 18 to 20. So it's going to give you some wiggle room there, right? Remember, nobody can be ever exact when it comes to calories. So you got your maintenance now, and now you have obviously your bulk, your surplus, so to speak. How do we figure out that, deficit for fat loss, the juice, right? For an aggressive fat loss, hey, take your body weight and multiply it by 10. I do not suggest you going lower than that. Anywhere from 10 to 12 is going to be prime for you. But remember, that's if everything's in consideration, right? Sleep, stress, right? Strength training, everything like that, right? And you already have a pretty effective metabolism, then this is a great calculation just to make things easy for you. So just understand this. There's a lot that goes into play, right? Into figuring out somebody's calories, especially if somebody is, let's say, 50% body fat compared to somebody that is, let's say, 15% body fat. All of this has a big factor into everything. But let's just quickly do a recap. One, first and foremost, understand how metabolism works. That's ideal. That's going to help you out in the long run for sure, and how to speed that up effectively. But then from there, just understand these calorie calculations, right? When it comes to being a deficit for fat loss, maintenance for kind of maintaining that weight, and then, bulking, being in that surplus for putting on, mass, but maybe not spilling over the cup to where you're storing body fat. Focus on that protein, right? Obviously, it's higher up on the thermic effect of food. That's going to help you out tremendously. Apply that with the 80-20 rule. You will have great success. And lastly, don't forget to hit the weights. That strength training is going to be a big factor in all this, where you can utilize those calories to help you push some heavier weights inside the gym, hit some PRs, and put on more lean muscle tissue.